Wait. Hello there, everybody. My camera's out of center, and that's bothering me. Welcome to the Snowocalypse post-show. I don't remember what week number it is, because, you know, it's been a while since I've done one of these, because I'm a piece of shit. No, I'm not, but sort of am. Yeah. I unfortunately missed a week at the post-show due to being lazy and having bad time management, and then things creeping up on me. So this is going to be a bit of a doozy. But, to go with that, it was a bit of a doozy of the last few sessions, so, you know, it's pretty great. It's also just been a while since I've streamed, generally. This would be the post-show for weeks 8 and 9. Yeah. It's been a while since I've generally done any streaming, because things have been on... People have been away, things have been on hiatus, I've been so ungodly tired. But, we're back. And also I'm fresh to death in my new haircut. It's very sexy, I know. So let's talk about role-playing games, shall we? It's been a while, so I'll do a little mini recap of all the things we missed, because, you know, it's been a while. So, since we were last here, the cast and crew got sucked into a horrendous nightmare portal, fought their inner demons and dreams and nightmares, and also something that reminds me a lot of the Lich King, and then got booted back out again into the real world. Also, just noticed my overlay looks wrong. Got booted back out again into the real world, where they proceed to find that everyone they knew was dead, or at least kind of corpseified, and that the town was surrounded by a bunch of what seemed like werewolves or zombies or something. They also briefly met Dr. Tessier, who was then brutally murdered in front of them, because psychic powers. Some bullshit. And yeah. They then discovered that the lady who murdered him was a childhood friend of Tudor's, back from when he remembered those things. And she was now in charge of this horde of genetic abominations that Dr. Tessier had made. She proceeded to try and go, "Yo, Tudor, I'm gonna go kill your God King. How about you don't try and stop me?" And Tudor was like, "Ah!" And then Lux was like, "Yo, I'm turning into a crazy monster. We should chase down the lady who seems to understand crazy monsters." And Tudor was like, "Okay." And then they blew her the shit up. With guns. And grenade launchers. And bullets. It was pretty fucking Mad Max. Just in the snow. Lux had her moment of just, like, leading a fucking convoy of armed cars. Plowing into, giant hordes of hulking abominations, and they had a man-to-man fight where Tudor leapt on the back of this huge thing, got his ribs even more broken up, and he's generally in a bad way at the moment. And meanwhile, Stein and Midnight have had some times. So Stein, first of all, was a god for a while, and then was not a god very suddenly, and then was stabbed by a Wraith King thing, Snow Demon Shizwazzle. Then proceeded to have this. Got told he only had 5 days left to live. Midnight was trapped in an alternate dimension with herself. Alternate dimension / the inner corners of her mind by Rachel, and then proceeded to try and escape by killing herself, which she nearly died until Tudor was like, "Nope," and just pulled her through a hole in the psychic maelstrom, as he's becoming very wont to do. And so she was in a horrible way and basically internally bleeding from her soul. Stein was slowly dying, and Stein decided that he was going to try and fix her by doing internal brain surgery. Or soul surgery. Then, while inside her brain, they tracked down Rachel, found old memories of the two of them together, of a more innocent time in their lives, indeed the first day that Stein and Midnight met. And Stein basically did a soul transplant and used what remained of Rachel to, like, stitch Midnight back together and prevent her from dying. Slightly harming himself in the process, but you know. And where we left off was Lux had just consumed the kind of alpha chunk that gives her that seems to give Helen some kind of control over the monsters of Wintermute, and Stein and Midnight had just had a couple of Lux's dad's henchmen barge into Stein's garage, threatening them with guns. That was where we kind of left off. Oh yes, Lux's dad has also arrived, who will probably play a bit of a role in this. So we have to look forward to the future, because the future is an important place to look when thinking about these things. I mean, people ask me, can Rachel be Tudor's daughter and stuff like that? Rachel's kind of gone. Let's analyze some player behavior in the last few sessions, shall we? So Stein turned a human being into psychic stitches. That is the equivalent in the physical world of if I used someone's skin as a bandage. I mean, we've seen Stein's super over-the-top like level that he will go to save Midnight from harm before, when he let oh god, what was his name? Was it Craig? Or Greg? The welder? Bleed out on the floor and got Preed to fix Midnight instead. Like, he's kind of, he goes full hog. We actually discovered, interestingly enough, that the theming of this world around the Psychic Maelstrom being emotion has played out really nicely. Not only because Midnight has played this incredibly cold, calculating, only really experiences anger as as her only emotion. A thing, I mean, she's got -2 weird. She has no emotions because she cannot interact with the Maelstrom, and is regaining them the more she has to go through it. Meanwhile, on the other end, you've got people like Tudor and Stein, Stein especially, he's an emotional kind of guy. He might not be very good, he's very bad at expressing said emotions, but he's an emotional kind of guy. Tudor is singularly driven and passionate, and, you know, the fact that he's got +3 weird would mean that there is no one on this planet who has such a deep well of emotion. He just is more adjusted. And then finally you've got Lux, who's kind of meh. She likes drinking and getting with people, but as her weird is occasionally ticking up and she's experiencing more and more of it through her normal senses, she's also getting a little more creepy with it. So yeah. But yes, we return to the game. We'll look at some fronts in a moment, but essentially, the things that press on them right now are that Lux is undergoing some physical mutations. Lux's daddy is in town, who, you know, isn't going to be a non-minor character. And finally, there's a giant snow god who wants to cause genocide, who holds, well, the souls of everyone from Cecil Road and also Stein's life in their strange, ghostly palms. And these are the threats that are majorly present in the world now. Everything else kind of been dealt with. So let's have a look at some fronts. So, we can kind of go through and delete a bunch. This one, actually, is pretty important. Because, in the last session, Tudor hit 10 harm. And as opposed to the rest of them who've hit harm in certain, like, more esoteric ways of the soul is in danger, he's just physically been battered. And 10 harm is bad for you. And the reason it's bad for you is because you start ticking automatically upwards. So I will just show you Tudor character sheet here. You see he's on 10 harm. 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock he starts slowly getting worse. So he's probably got a couple of days, long as they don't do anything too crazy, but you know, they're player characters. He's going to do crazy things. We also have some other reasons to talk about why Tudor is interesting at the moment, which we'll get to very shortly. So this actually has become important. Why is that so small? Hello? Where's my circle? Draw a shape. Hold Alt for circle ellipse. I'm confused. Large. Whoa, 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 whoa. My mouse is freaking out as well. What's happening? What's happening? I don't like it. Ooh, let's put that there. Whoa. I don't know if this is visible on the screen. No. It's perfectly normal on stream. Yes, 12 is dead. Actually, technically, 11... I think 12 is alright for a PC, but you need something big to overcome that, and that's not always a possibility. This bit all gone. These people are corpses. No, I don't want that. All that. I want just defunct, unimportant threat. Rachel dead. She is no longer an entity. She's purely in existence within Midnight and no longer has any real power. Stein is rather good at his job. Trouble in the McRae house, also irrelevant, because Arpus is dead. That cleared that up, didn't it? Was the Final Function Test Control Panel? Don't think that's really relevant, but I'll leave it on there because, you know, no reason not to. Who is Rachel? Can Rachel be destroyed against her will? Yes. Yes, she can, because she was. Is Rachel gone? I think she can't really affect anything properly anymore. I don't think she has that capacity. But I don't think she's gone. She exists on in Midnight in some format. And that may just be in some of her abilities. We'll see. And maybe some of her memories. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually learn the answer to the question, who was Rachel? Okay, small world, big egos. I think I'm gonna just do something that's gonna confuse some people. Aha, discovered it. I have an idea of how to bring this NPC back, and I'm quite excited to give it a try. I'll give you a hint, because, you know, I'm nice like that. Control-C, Control-V... Boop. That's all I'm going to say. Shoop. Irrelevant. No longer interested. He's also very dead. Parched Ambition. Probably not interesting. Not relevant. That's still a question though, so we'll leave it there. Wintermute. He was dead, so he's gone. This is still around to some greater or lesser degree. But I think Lux has taken a kind of hard left off of this. She is, in some format, transformed, but it's not the way that is intended of the people who are infected become mindless servants and slaves to Dr. Tessia's will, because Dr. Tessia died, and Lux has assimilated the alpha abilities. The alpha is the way I'm still thinking of it, even though wolves aren't really the right way to describe these guys. While the infection is similar-ish to werewolves, they're much more genetic freak experiments that respond to a psychic call and a master, as opposed to a wolf pack. I think just a wolf pack's a decent way to describe them. The Wintermute Labs, however, that's not really relevant anymore, because all of the big bad things, they arrived at this road. Before anything bad could happen, this front was headed off, because Lux was like, yo, you're mine now. They're no longer a player-facing threat, because Lux made them hers. However, what we should do is, because I have given Lux a free move as a result of things she has gained, because it felt very fictionally appropriate. The move is called Pack Alpha. When you try to impose your will on your gang, you roll plus hard on a 10 plus or 3 on a 7 9, choose 1. They do what you want, they don't fight back over it, you don't have to make an example of one of them. Now, this is usually... So there's some tension. On a miss, someone in your gang makes a dedicated bid to replace you for Alpha. Now, I may sort of throw together some of the bike and gang stuff, because these guys don't have... They're not a proper chopper biker gang, because they move as fast as a motorbike, and are giant dudes. Let's have a look. I think these guys are a 3 harm gang with like sick armor. I may just make them 3 harm, 3 armor, medium, and savage. Definitely savage. These things are definitely violent as crap, but statistically they're pretty fucking hard as nails. Like between them and the rest of the McRae kind of company, now that they're en masse, there's probably about 50 guys in cars with assault rifles and guns, and generally just pretty tough motherfuckers. Maybe 3 harm 2 armor. I think 3 harm 2 armor, medium-sized gang makes them like really dangerous. Like these things are not to be fucked around with. And with like the 25 of those things and like the 30 odd of the drivers, they've got about 50 people. That's a large gang. That's a scary force to be riding around with. If Lux can, you know, convince her dad. So yeah, let's keep this in mind. Ah dear, so much driver stuff as well. But yes. So next front we might need to just have a quick look at. Home front, not relevant right now, but an important thing to remember is that dear Tudor here, as his last advancement, chose 3 basic moves and advanced them. Which means that now his I believe he took, oh god, which moves? The manipulate move, the opening your brain to the psychic maelstrom move, and I forget his third one, going aggro or something else. But he has opened those so that they now do absolutely crazy things. So I'll show you this stuff quickly, because some of them are very interesting and kind of game-breaking. Which is why the game will probably come towards a close in the next few sessions, because Tudor has the ability to start just messing shit up. For instance, so when you seduce or manipulate someone, tell them what you want and roll plus hot. For NPCs on a hit, they ask you to promise something first and do it if you promise. On 10 plus, whether you keep your promise up to you later. On 7 to 9, they need some concrete assurance right now. And for PCs, on a 10 plus... for PCs on a 10 plus both, 7 to 9 choose 1, yeah, finally. And then finally, once you open it, you get this thing. On a 12 plus, only if they're an NPC, they do it, and furthermore you change their nature. Choose one of the following, tell the MC to erase their threat type altogether, and write it in instead. They are an ally, they're a friend, their impulse is to back you up. They're your lover, their impulse to give you shelter and comfort. Your right hand, their impulse to follow through in your intentions. Your representative, they pursue your interests in your absence. Your guardian, their impulse is to intercept danger. And finally, your confidant, their impulse is to give you advice, perspective, or absolution. So, Tudor can, with some good dice rolls, start plucking people off of my fronts and throwing them into friends of his. Allies that I am not allowed, by the rules of the game, to fuck with unless he does so first. East Tower is still around. This is still going to happen, I think. Helen, also quite dead. It's a shame. I liked you, Helen. Tudor's crown and gains the needed army. Yep, that has happened. And he definitely has an army at his back. It's what he does with it that is becoming the question. So. The other important one that Tudor has taken is that he's opened the when you open your braid psychic maelstrom, and this one is on a 12+. When you reach the world's psychic maelstrom, you reach the world's psychic maelstrom to what's beyond it. The only text given to help me work out what that means, I envy your finding out. So, in the next session, whenever Tudor goes, I open my braid to the psychic maelstrom, and he rolls 2d6 and adds 3. If he gets a 12 or above, he sees beyond the psychic maelstrom. And that's where things get interesting. And I think the way I'm going to handle that, is that basically it's ascending to the same playing field as Empire. Like Empire is big, scary, spooky snow ghost. But also is intensely powerful and has senses that Tudor doesn't have. And maybe it's something to... We'll talk about it, but maybe it's something to do with his newfound, like, independence. Maybe it's something to do with his wanting to escape from... Well, he killed his childhood friend for his friends, for him defining his own life for the first time in a while. But he's taking charge, and if he can ascend the Psychic Maelstrom, he might be able to take Empire on in its proper world. If that's what he wants to do. Because currently he can't. Because currently Empire is just a being beyond Tudor. Beyond any of them. Unless they can find its physical manifestation. Alright. Let's have a look at some new fronts. New threats, more specifically. Because I've got, I think, one for every... At what point end the game? I think the game ends when they go after this guy. Something big is going to happen soon. And I don't necessarily think all the PCs are going to get through it, and I don't think it's going to be because I'm going to be the one killing them. I think some significant conflicts of interest are coming up. Between... on the one hand, we have Empire. Big, floaty ghost dude. And then we have Stein, who needs him to save his life. And also, Stein desperately wants to go back to that time when he was god of his own little world, which Empire took away from him. So, Stein knows, yo, you have all the power I need to get back to that. Meanwhile, Lux may also know, yo, all my friends are dead because this crazy snow ghost took all these people, all the souls of the people I care away from me. So I'm going to go take them back or kill it. And finally, there's Tudor, who's kind of the wild card in this of, does he want to side with Lux on the whole, I'm going to put all my people's souls back? Or does he side with Empire and go, yo, you want to make me king? Well, follow up. I'll be king. And, of course, into all of this giant melting pot of intentions and craziness, we throw the eternal Midnight in there to mess shit up. Britannia raises an army. I'm going to take that one. Yeah. Tanya's got some things going on. Empire's got some stuff going on in the storm. Turns out a lot of people froze there, and when you give them a lot of juice, you can do a lot of things. We'll see how it plays out. But some interesting things are going to be happening in there. I think Empire is looking on at the events going on and is maybe questioning their pawn's loyalties, because I am. I don't really know exactly what Tudor has planned, and I think that's a good place for me to be as a role player, because that means I can roleplay Empire honestly as this rather untrusting, crazy god being thing. And East Tower is still floating somewhere around. Maybe we'll see him before the end of the game. Maybe he won't get a chance. And this, still doing its thing. Still not entirely worked out what it is. if the storm is a side effect of this. I know it's some kind of super weapon. I don't know whether the storm is the super weapon, and whether it's just like, yeah, I'm just going to freeze the planet, or whether the storm is a side effect of the super weapon. That's something we'll find out. There's a point. What exactly is Excalibur? Maybe we don't even find that question out. Maybe it's just going to be one of those, like, just don't turn it on. Bad things. Bad things. So here's a thing. We need to change this. Large-scale population test doesn't really matter, but a PC has gone past 9 harm. Tudor. And now he's dying. I think that's the next step, and I think that's happened. And they don't really have time to treat him. Rachel is pretty dead. Oh, actually, that's the thing. She shouldn't really be there. I'll leave her there, because her memories and stuff is floating around in the Maelstrom still. Just she isn't. Not in the same way, at least. She is a non-player in the game nowadays. I was like, wow. Okay, so PC's gone past 9 harm. I think Tudor's wounds are infected, and he needs medical attention. Or something big. And you know where you find that in this horrible world? Da 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 da. Right. So. Dr. Tessier, goodbye. You're very dead. So, what's left at Wintermute? There's got to be something left here. Let's have a look at threats. I believe inactive is probably the most accurate term there, Ingy. Grotesques. Yeah, I think that's right. Wintermute researchers. The kind mindfuckers. Impulse. Crave mastery. Description and cast. I'll think of some names, put them in here. So these are going to be the people left over, the rest of that regime that still holds, like, most of the scientific knowledge that's left in this era, along with a shit ton of medical supplies and all that jazz, that's sitting on top of it. I don't think this is true. I don't know. I don't think it's true anymore. I think Lux now has complete conscious control over spreading the disease or not. So, yeah. Yeah, so this is assorted people left over from the regime who are all going to be still in that lab, still doing their creepy shit. And they're going to be ready to mess people up. I don't know what the countdown is, so I'm not going to go too into it at the moment. They're going to be around if they go to Wintermute. Or they can just go, so, lol, balls to it, head straight for, Big Bad in the Snow. I think that's where this campaign goes. They could just say we ride off into the sunset. Or swirly, faintly brighter morning-ish time light, as it is in this world. But that, I think, is a way to end this campaign. And then maybe pick it up in a second season somewhere way down the line. We'll see how that goes. Finally, I do have one more threat. One more entirely new threat I want to add. What was his name? I forget the name of Lux's dad every goddamn time. I am the worst for it. Nope. Don't have notes to me. He'll be Lux. No, he's not Luxie. He's in traditional terrible Johnny naming style. He has a his name backwards. Then McRae is a racer. I can't for the life of me remember. McRae Senior for now will do. I will remember and put it in properly. Yeah. So this is called the McRae Company. The father's concern. Because basically, when Lux goes, yo, I am now fine, but I now want to drive into the middle of that horrible swirling snowstorm that no one ever comes out of alive in the search of some crazy psychic god thing, her dad's gonna go, hell fucking nah. And I don't think he's going to be keeping her there. If she tries, like, he'll fight her. There are ways around this for these characters, but yeah, the kind definitely brutes. They're definitely a family. That's the thing. The impulse is to close ranks, protect their own, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to protect his own. He's lost his brother Arpus. He wants to protect Lux, and he thinks that she'll fuck it up if he lets her do it herself. Because she thinks her plan is suicide, almost certainly. And he will do it at the expense of, I think, any of the other PCs. Quite happily. So Bad Times is our initial, and then I think this one is what's this one? I don't think it matters too much because I know that this one is Lux says she wants to go into the storm. Kidnaps Lux is the next step. And then the final step is drives Lux off into the off to the horizon. That's the final step of this game, of this front, is that he gets Lux away from them all. He separates them for enough distance from the party so that they can't track her down, and then just goes, LOL, and drives off into the horizon. And Lux is therefore removed from the campaign in a non-lethal fashion, but just so far from the events that she's no longer a character. And that's this front. I think that and whatever they do with Wintermute are the next two things they're going to have to confront. But there are ways out of this for this one. Obviously, Shooter's new move to go, yo, be my buddy against all odds, is a pretty powerful one in this. It can just negate this threat entirely. If he rolls that and turns Lux's dad into his kind of guardian or whatever, then it's just that's how it plays out. That's what we deal with. And then yeah, he's not gonna. This threat is deleted. And yeah, Lux leads a way bigger army into battle. But yeah, we're building towards a big conclusion. I'm very excited to see it. Is there any other fronts I can really think to add at this juncture? I have ideas for what's going to be happening in the rest, but I've got rough stuff down for them. I don't want to spoil it too much because I think it's going to be cool. But yes, we've got some interesting times still to go. Yeah, what was the other move that did he take go aggro? I'm just trying desperately to remember which move Joe opened when he took his latest advance, because some of them are very cool, some of them are less fun, some of them are very cool. The sharp ones are just, you can ask any question as opposed to that little list. That gets interesting very quickly. But yes, it's took less time than I thought it was going to. I thought there was more to discuss, but I think at the moment there's nothing else I really want to talk about. So at this point, stream chat, as you're there, if you have any questions relevant to this game and what's going on it, please do ask them now, and I will answer them live for the benefit of the video. Obviously, if you are on the YouTubes and you do have questions, you can ask them either in the comments, or the place that I really do check and love, and also you should visit, is I have a subreddit. The Reddit thread for this episode is in this channel description, where you could also go to vote for stat highlights for the next session to give my lovely players XP, which they much appreciate because they like XP, because they're RPG game players. It's basically what they live for. I will just drop that Reddit thread into the chat there. So yes, go highlight stats, because the next session is tomorrow. The date will be the 3rd of November 2015 at about 9 PM GMT. It's going to be very exciting. Yeah. We'll see. Lots of cool stuff coming. As for streaming schedules and things like that, I will be attempting to be on... Actually, I'll talk about this in a moment. Other stuff relevant to role-playing games. Next game to be tomorrow. I am looking into booting up Wildcards in the near future. Wildcards is a West Marches style game in the Stars That Number system, so all about space and a bunch of stuff like that. More stuff will be coming out on that very soon. I'm in the process of writing out a giant newcomer's guide to Sector Epsilon Theta that will go up on subreddits and that sort of things, and probably I'll do a live video introducing people to it all at a later date. Look forward to that. It's going to be very cool. And finally, if you haven't seen any of the stuff I do on Encounter Roleplay, I very recently did a 24-hour stream with them, and I ran another session of Blades in the Dark, and it was really good, and you should go check it out. I'm going to call this post-show here, because there are no good questions. No questions being asked there. About the game, anyway. Bunch of crazies. Yeah. Bye-bye.